Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are strapping ourselves in, hitting the accelerator, and plunging headfirst into the, well, incredibly complex and utterly thrilling world of Formula One.
Buckle up.
Exactly. Specifically, we're setting our sights on the radical, almost revolutionary changes awaiting us in 2026. This isn't just a simple update, it's a fundamental reimagining of what Formula One is, and it's all happening behind the scenes right now.
That warp speed, yeah.
We're going to peel back the layers on Aston Martin's monumental efforts, scrutinize the high-stakes future of its driver lineup, and really drill down into why a certain two-time world champion might just be the absolute perfect driver for this entirely new era.
That's absolutely right. When we talk about the 2026 regulations, we're not just discussing like an evolution of car design or a few tweaks here and there. This is fundamental, ground-up shift, a complete paradigm change.
Right.
Think of it less as upgrading an existing system and more like being handed a completely blank sheet of paper and told, okay, design a new machine, different rules. So we'll be dissecting the intricate technical stuff, the nuances of these new cars. But crucially, we'll also be looking at the human element, the drivers. They won't just have to master this challenge. Their skills might even be, redefined.
It's a strong word.
It is. It's a seismic shift for everyone involved, from engineers, strategists, the pilots themselves.
And to guide us through this intricate landscape, we've gathered insights from some really fascinating sources. We've got exclusive commentary from Aston Martin's CEO, giving us a rare glimpse into the sheer scale of the task ahead. We've also got some pretty candid, no-holds-barred critical commentary on driver performance from a former F1 star, which should be interesting.
Oh, yeah. Spicy.
And a comprehensive technical analysis from a leading F1 publication that really breaks down just how profoundly different these new cars are going to be. So our mission today is to equip you, our listener, with a deep understanding of what's coming, why it matters so much for the sport's future, and perhaps most importantly, why Fernando Alonso, even at 44, might just find himself with an incredible, maybe unparalleled opportunity.
To rewrite his own legend, perhaps?
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this with Aston Martin's Everest. Their team is undertaking a truly monumental task. Their CEO described it as like climbing Everest without oxygen.
Wow.
That phrase alone, it just paints this picture of immense, almost unbearable pressure, doesn't it? This isn't just about finding small gains. It's about re-engineering everything under insane deadlines.
It really does. And that analogy, Everest without oxygen, it's incredibly apt. It drives home the difficulty, the high stakes. It's not just steep, it's pushing past the limits, maybe without the usual support.
Right.
And for a driver like Fernando Alonso, who'll be 44 in 2026, well, the timeline isn't about long-term development. It's not a 5-year plan for him.
No, he wants it now.
Exactly. It's about having a winning car now.
Yeah.
Aston Martin's CEO, Andy Cowell, he's been remarkably clear about this. You don't get a two-time champ like Alonso with vague promises. You have to deliver something capable of winning, basically straight away.
It's an expectation, not a hope.
It's pretty much non-negotiable, I'd say. And that urgency is precisely why their new Silverstone factory, that state-of-the-art facility, is already running day and night. Every resource, every brain focused on that 2026 car.
So they're all in on 2026 already.
Totally. Every simulation, every piece of tech, it's all geared towards cracking that new rule book and being ready from race one. It's a massive bet on the future.
And this intense focus, it leads us to the peculiarities of the 2025 season, doesn't it? Because fans might be watching now, maybe feeling a bit frustrated with Aston Martin's performance on track this year. Not seeing those consistent podiums, maybe.
Might seem like they're treading water.
Exactly. But what you're saying is this is actually a crucial, calculated strategic move. Cowell, in a recent interview, basically said almost all their current efforts, even the lack of obvious upgrades sometimes, are focused entirely on understanding 2026 better than anyone else.
It's an investment year. Simple as that. Sacrificing maybe some immediate glory for hopefully a massive payoff later.
But how do you sell that to the fans? Or even to a driver like Alonso who's so competitive? Isn't there a risk of demotivation?
That's a critical question. Huge pressure on leadership there. But Cowell's perspective is clear.
Yeah.
That frustration you might feel watching 2025, wondering about upgrades. It's a direct, calculated investment.
Okay.
It's a strategic choice, channeling resources, brainpower, engineering effort into deciphering and hopefully dominating 2026. He actually described the internal approach as Pioneering.
Pioneering.
Yeah, creating an environment where people aren't afraid to make mistakes, to push boundaries, because that's how real innovation happens, right?
Yeah.
He talks about this intensity to scale Everest without oxygen, but faster than anyone has done it.
Wow, faster too. So not just reach the summit, but be first.
Precisely. But despite that urgency, that laser focus, there's also realism. Cowell noted, Australia 26 feels like it's a solar system away.
A solar system away.
Yeah.
That really puts the scale into perspective.
It does. The sheer amount of work, the detail, the hours needed between now and then, it's immense. It's this weird paradox.
That's true.
Extreme urgency, but for a distant goal.
So if 2025 feels like a strategic pause on track, then the real battle, the war for 2026 supremacy, is happening somewhere else entirely.
Exactly. It's a highly secretive, incredibly intense development race. Behind closed doors, not just at Aston Martin, but across all the F1 factories, right now.
Far away from the Sunday races.
Precisely. Cowell confirmed all the factories are essentially at the same point. Every top team is meticulously planning, testing every novel concept, every idea, every material as fast as they possibly can.
So the race weekends we see are just the test results.
That's how Cowell put it brilliantly, I think. He said the race weekends are the results of our exams, but the real thesis, the painstaking, groundbreaking work of design, simulation, manufacturing that's being written right now in the factory.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, the true innovation development race for Melbourne 26 is happening now, behind closed doors. Wind tunnels, simulations, design offices, experimenting with new materials, radical aero, complex engines. This off-track competition is arguably more intense than anything we'll see on track this year.
So the teams that write the best thesis will be the ones celebrating in 26.
That's the idea. It's a hidden war of intellect and engineering.
And for all that engineering brilliance, it still comes down to people, doesn't it? The human element. Because even the best car needs the right driver, the right leadership.
Absolutely pivotal.
Which brings us to the high-stakes stuff around team lineups for 2026. And frankly, some pretty controversial discussions about Aston Martin. They're definitely generating hype, especially with whispers about Adrian Newey.
The design guru.
Exactly. The most successful designer ever, potentially joining to work on the AMR 26. You combine that kind of potential leadership with Alonso's ambition, which is, let's be honest, pretty desperate for another title.
He's made no secret of it.
Not at all. He openly said in an interview around Monaco with a big European sports journal that he'd be happy to just win in Australia 2026. That's not subtle. It's a direct challenge to his team, an ultimatum almost.
And that ambition from Alonso, plus the Newey rumors, it sets the stage for some, well, difficult conversations about team dynamics. Personnel choices.
Difficult is putting it mildly sometimes.
Yeah, we saw a very strong, pretty unvarnished view from Ralf Schumacher, the former F1 driver. He didn't mince words about Lance Stroll's position.
Oh, I saw that. What did he say exactly?
Schumacher, in an interview picked up by a major racing news site, stated unequivocally that if Aston Martin really wants to be world champion, he has to fire his son.
Wow. That's blunt. A public challenge to Lawrence Stroll.
It is. Stark. Highlights the brutal pressure of aiming for championships in F1. It's controversial, sure, but it kind of resonates with the cutthroat nature of the sport, doesn't it?
Fire his son.
What?
That's a headline right there. But is it just drama? Or is there a cold, hard truth behind it? What data is Schumacher pointing to?
Well, it's fair to ask if it's just sensationalism.
Yeah.
But the core of his argument, and it is backed by a pretty compelling objective data point, is the performance gap between Alonso and Stroll, especially in qualifying.
Qualifying being the pure pace measure, generally.
Exactly. And Alonso has outqualified Stroll for, get this, 27 consecutive weekends.
27 consecutive.
Yeah. Active since the British Grand Prix in 2024. Think about that. More than a full season where one driver consistently shows superior one-lap pace in the same car.
That's a stark statistic.
It undeniably raises questions about the team's overall potential if you're aiming for a championship, which usually needs two strong cars scoring points consistently. Schumacher highlights that classic dilemma for Lawrence Stroll. Emotions versus success.
Father versus team owner.
An incredibly tough spot. Choosing between family loyalty and the cold logic of performance. Schumacher thinks Lawrence Stroll knows the truth about the gap, but the personal connection makes the decision, well, agonizing.
Speaks volumes about F1, where results often trump everything else.
It really does, It's almost Machiavellian sometimes.
And this data makes Alonso's comments after the Hungarian Grand Prix even more interesting. He stressed needing factory time, saying they needed this week in the factory to analyze exactly what the differences were between Spa and Hungary, what the differences were also in the car, in the setup, in the aerodynamic devices. He was very precise.
Absolutely. And those detailed analyses he's calling for, they're not just about finding a few tenths for the current car.
Right, it feeds into the bigger picture.
Directly into the huge 2026 development effort. Every component, every setup choice, every aero device used now provides invaluable data for the completely new generation of cars. When Alonso talks like that, with such precision, he's contributing to that thesis Cal mentioned.
He's like a real-time data logger in the cockpit.
Exactly. His sensitivity, his feedback, his memory for setups, and their effects. They're crucial assets in this development race. Those factory weeks are gold for the engineers building the future AMR26. He's much more than just a driver in that process.
So we've covered the factory battle, the driver lineup pressure, but what about the cars themselves? We hear radical overhaul a lot for 2026, smaller, lighter, mobile aero, but what's the real game changer? The thing that's going to redefine F1 as we know it?
You've hit the nail on the head. It's the power unit regulations. That's the most profound transformation. The 2026 cars will be fundamentally different. It's the end of F1 as we know it, basically.
Okay, break it down.
We're looking at big changes across the board. Cars will be noticeably smaller, likely lighter. Tires, different dimensions. And for the first time ever in F1, active or mobile aerodynamics. Not just allowed, but heavily used. Actively shifting during the laps.
Mobile aero. Wow.
But the biggest change, the one that truly redefines everything, is the engine split. The power balance. The internal combustion engine, the ICE, will deliver only about 50 to 55% of the total power. That's down from roughly 90% today.
90 down to 50-something. That's huge.
It's massive. And the electrical power, that increases dramatically, up to 45 or 50% of the total power from only about 10% now.
So almost a 50-50 split between combustion and electric.
Pretty much. And this isn't a small tweak. It's a seismic shift in how these machines are powered and, crucially, how they'll have to be driven.
With that kind of rebalancing, what does it actually mean for the racing? How does it change things on track?
It changes everything. With that near 50-50 split, energy management becomes the single most critical aspect of performance. Full stop.
More important than raw speed.
It defines race strategy. Yeah. Profoundly influences driving styles. It determines who wins and loses. This isn't just about efficiency tweaks. It's a fundamental overhaul of how power units operate, how energy is recovered, stored, deployed.
So it's like a constant chess match in the cockpit.
Exactly. 2026 transforms F1 from maybe a purely maximum attack sport into this dynamic real-time puzzle where a driver's cognitive endurance, their strategic foresight, is just as critical as their raw speed.
Cognitive endurance. Interesting phrase.
Every lap becomes this high-stakes equation. Get the energy call wrong, and it's not just a lost tenth, it could be a lost position, maybe even the race. Drivers, engineers, strategists, constantly calculating energy usage. Every throttle input, every brake application, every gear shift becomes a tactical move. It adds this whole new layer of sophisticated tactical depth.
Okay, to really grasp this, maybe quickly remind us of the current system, just for context.
Sure. So right now, 2025, we have the V6 1.6-liter turbo ICE. That's paired with two motor generator units, MGUs. You've got the MGUK kinetic, recovers energy from braking, turns deceleration into electricity, gives about 161 horsepower boost above 100 kilometer.
Right.
Then there's the MGUH heat. Super clever bit of kit. Recovers energy from the turbocharger itself, harvesting waste heat from the exhaust. Right. And both the K and the H act as generators when the driver lifts off the throttle, storing electricity in the battery for later use. It's already an engineering marvel, really.
But it's about to get a radical makeover, you said.
And this is where the radical changes for 2026 really bite. First big point, the MGUH, gone. Eliminated entirely.
The heat recovery one, just gone.
Poof, vanished. That complex bit that scavenges energy from the turbo, no longer part of the architecture. This means the MGUK, the kinetic one, becomes the sole energy recovery unit.
So only recovery from braking, essentially.
Primarily, yeah. But here's the kicker. Its power output almost triples.
Triples from 161 horsepower to
a staggering 469 horsepower from that single unit.
469 horsepower from the MGUK alone. Wow.
Hey, think about that. One unit doing all the electrical recovery, heavy lifting, and providing nearly 500 horsepower. But without the MGUH helping out with heat recovery, and to make it even harder, there's a hard limit. 8.5 megajoules per lap for energy recovery.
Okay, so a limit on how much you can harvest each lap.
Exactly. The implication is massive. The MGUK has to work incredibly hard, and recovery is concentrated only in those moments when the driver's off the accelerator. Every lift, every brake zone, every tiny throttle adjustment becomes absolutely critical for regen.
Precision driving needed.
Like a surgeon, maximizing those brief, intense moments of energy harvesting. It becomes less about just raw engine power and more about that instantaneous, perfectly timed surge of electric energy you can grab and then redeploy. It completely transforms driving.
So with all that focus on the MGUK and regen, it sounds like lift and coast becomes absolutely fundamental. It's used now, but sounds like it's moving center stage.
Absolute center stage.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, lift and coast is used, yeah. Saves brakes, saves the engine, manages fuel, manages temps, sometimes even avoids floor damage on certain cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the aero drag alone is huge in F1, gives you 1.5 G braking just by lifting off.
More than a road car's full braking, practically.
Exactly. So it's already a nuanced technique. But for 2026, its purpose fundamentally shifts. It won't be primarily about braking or saving bits or fuel. Its main job becomes essential for regenerating the batteries. Drivers will have to lift off the accelerator much, much earlier at the end of straights.
Much earlier. How much are we talking?
Significantly earlier. Not just to slow down for the corner, but specifically to maximize the duration and efficiency of energy regen. It's a totally new driving style, a mental rewiring job for every driver.
And this happens even with the new mobile aero, like with the wings open for low drag.
That's the prediction. Lift and coast, even in X mode, the low drag, wings open setup. The idea is to maintain speed longer while still regenerating, extending that critical regen window. So you'll be essentially freewheeling for longer, recovering energy rather than just maximizing pure ICE speed.
Freewheeling in an F1 car? Sounds strange.
It does, and it leads to some fascinating technical predictions. We might even see engine maps that feel a bit like the blown diffuser era from 2011.
The blown diffusers, how would that work now?
Well, back then, they kept the engine revving high off throttle to blow exhaust gases over the diffuser for aero grip. For 2026, the why is different. It wouldn't be for aero, but to keep the MGUK spinning at its most efficient RPM for maximum regen, even during braking.
So using the engine to help charge the battery almost?
Effectively, yeah. Using the ICE to power the electric system indirectly, like a generator. This could mean strange gear shifts like early downshifts, not for braking, but just to keep the MGUK in its sweet spot for regen, turning the engine into a kind of range extender for the battery.
Like a hybrid road car range extender?
Kind of analogous, yeah. The ICE becomes the generator, the MGUK the conduit, and the driver orchestrates this complex dance of power and recovery. The mental load on the driver will be huge, constant micro-decisions on energy, lift points, gears, all while racing wheel to wheel.
A range extender F1 car.
That's wild. So this must mean how you drive, how you manage energy. It's going to vary hugely depending on the track, right?
Absolutely. Circuit characteristics become massive.
Yeah.
A strategic battleground in themselves. How so? Give us examples.
Okay, take tight tracks. Monaco, Hungary, less full throttle time, more braking zones. Regeneration is relatively easier there. More opportunities to harvest energy. So the driving style might not change quite as dramatically. Maybe more like Formula E, where energy management is already king. Lap times might even be close to current ones, maybe within half a second.
Okay, so tight tracks are maybe less affected. What about the fast ones?
High-speed tracks. Monza, Baku, Las Vegas, places where you're maybe 70% or more full throttle per lap. That's where the driving will be profoundly different. These tracks demand massive battery regeneration. Drivers will have to absolutely master the new lift and coast techniques to have enough electric power to compete. Pit wall strategy calls will be incredibly complex, balancing speed versus regen over the whole race.
So what about those early worries? Max Verstappen, others, fearing cars running out of battery mid-straight. Sounded pretty dangerous. Have they fixed that?
That was a very real concern in early simulations, yeah. Max was quite vocal. Early sim runs did show cars potentially depleting battery mid-straight, leading to a sudden, big, and dangerous speed drop.
Like hitting a wall, almost.
Potentially, yeah. Huge safety risk. But subsequent design changes, especially integrating the X and Z aero modes and refining power delivery strategies, it's not expected to be that dramatic now. Power won't just cut instantly from, say, 1,000 HP to 500 HP.
Okay, so it's gradual.
Much more gradual. Simulations suggest the power reduction will happen over maybe 7 seconds. So over roughly a third of a long straight, like Monza's main straight, it's designed to prevent those sudden speed differentials, make it manageable, predictable for the drivers. Huge engineering effort went into sorting that.
And central to all this power management is that mobile aero you mentioned. X mode and Z mode. Explain those again.
Certainly. Brand new element for F1, designed to optimize performance for both speed and downforce during a lap. So X mode is your speed mode. For straights, wings open, flatten out, slice through the air, minimum resistance, maximum velocity.
Okay, X for speed.
Then, approaching a corner, it switches to Z mode. Wings snap closed, basically.
Yeah.
Maximum downforce. Pushing the car into the track for huge grip and stability through the corners.
Z for corners, grip, makes sense.
It's this active aerodynamic dance, lap after lap. The FIA will strictly control where these modes can be activated, like current DRS zones. Activated only when the car's stable, full throttle, to avoid losing traction on corner exit.
And how does this impact the actual racing, the wheel-to-wheel stuff?
Well, the exciting part is, combined with the new lift and coast emphasis, many predict it will really shake up racing lines. Could lead to more inventive, imaginative lines, new overtaking spots, as drivers look for the best energy-aero compromise. Plus, the cars themselves are expected to be maybe more benevolent than the current tricky ground effect cars.
More forgiving. Could mean closer racing.
Potentially. More forgiving, maybe easier to follow, encouraging closer battles. That's the hope anyway.
All this tech, the aero, the energy, it leads back to the driver, doesn't it? What kind of driver thrives in this new world? Alex Albon had an interesting take. He said the 2026 car feels different to anything we've used before, compared it to a more extreme version of Formula E. And he concluded, pilots who have the cerebral capacity to understand and facilitate all these demands will do well. That phrase, cerebral capacity, really jumps out. Intellect over raw speed.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
And it brings us to our central argument, really. While there are many incredibly fast drivers, Fernando Alonso might have a unique combination of qualities that makes him exceptionally suited for 2026.
Okay, lay it out. What's the argument?
It's not just praise, it's about strategy. The core idea is, in a paradigm shift like this, the advantage goes to the fastest learner. Alonso's genius isn't just in his hands, it's in his head. His ability to reverse engineer a challenge, find the shortcuts, he could be the ultimate cheat code for a new rulebook.
The fastest learner.
Look, you can argue he's not the absolute best in any single category. Maybe not the purest speed merchant or the undisputed quali king or the ultimate rain master or the best setup guy, but he is almost certainly the closest to being the best in all of them.
Jack of all trades. Master of adaptability.
Exactly. His superpower is unparalleled adaptability. And his creativity in finding solutions, often unconventional ones. He's not just fast, he's deeply intelligent and analytical about racing.
That's a strong claim, but his career backs it up with examples, doesn't it? Both in F1 and outside.
Oh, absolutely. He's excelled in totally different engine eras, V10s, V8s, the current V6 turbo hybrids. Remember, the V6 era kind of executed Vettel's dominance, didn't it? But Alonso stayed remarkably competitive, even without a winning car.
Right. And tires, too. Michelin, Bridgestone, Pirelli.
Huge deal. Tire changes can make or break careers. Pirelli executed drivers like Button or Webber who struggled massively after Bridgestone. Alonso always seemed to figure them out, extract more than the car deserved.
He's shown under different aero rules, too. Pre-2009, post-2009, 2014, 2017, even the 2022 ground effect era, where Hamilton initially struggled.
Yeah. And look outside F1. Nearly won Indy 500 with basically a month's prep. Won Le Mans twice, was the fastest Toyota driver, won the WEC title, finished top 15 in his debut Dakar Rally, almost won a stage with minimal prep.
It's an astonishing record of adapting to pretty much anything with four wheels and an engine.
And those aren't just anecdotes, they're direct evidence of the skill set needed for 2026. It's about track and driving innovation. Remember Zandvoort? 2021, he invents that unique line at Tarzan Corner, catches everyone out.
I remember that.
Then in 2023, others copy it, so he adapts again, finds a new way. Constant innovation. He developed that specific steering technique for Michelin's to get front grip. Listen to his V8 onboard audio, unique throttle, unique gear management, different from others.
He understands the car on a deeper level.
And his racecraft. Using DRS against Hamilton in Canada that time, playing cat and mouse. That's strategic thinking under pressure. These aren't just flashes of brilliance. They show this depth problem-solving ability. So for 2026, the key is adapting fast, optimizing energy management, when to spend, when to recover, finding new lines, all in real time. Alonso's history suggests he's the most creative and adaptive driver, the one most likely to find the trick of the video game fastest.
Find the trick of the video game. I like that. He sees the matrix where others just see code.
Something like that, yeah.
So does this radical shift finally change that old car versus driver debate?
Yeah.
We usually say car is 90–95%, driver 5%. Does this complexity increase the driver's contribution?
It's a very real possibility. I'd argue it's almost certain the driver's contribution increases significantly. The car is still dominant, of course. You need a great engine, reliable battery, efficient MGUK, brilliant chassis. That's paramount.
But the driver matters more.
That 5% could realistically jump, maybe to 20%, because of the complexity, the mental load, managing energy, aero modes, lift and coast, optimizing strategy constantly from the cockpit. It's not just physical anymore, it's intensely cerebral.
Right, that cerebral capacity Alban mentioned.
Exactly. Real-time decisions, strategic foresight, communicating subtle car behavior back to engineers, developing a whole new platform. These are game changers. And if anyone has consistently shown the capacity to read a race, understand complex cars, and adapt to extract every last bit of performance, it's Alonso.
So it gives him an edge.
Look, it's not a guarantee of a championship or even win number 33. We can't expect miracles. But his unparalleled adaptability does give him a significant competitive advantage, depending on how good that Aston Martin package is. Yeah, that edge could absolutely mean more points, more podiums, maybe even wins, especially early on while others are still learning the new game.
Well, this has been an absolutely exhilarating deep dive, a real tour de force through the future of Formula One. What we've discussed today makes it crystal clear. 2026 isn't just another F1 season, it's a paradigm shift, demanding huge innovation from teams and exceptional adaptability, mental and physical, from the drivers.
It really is. The level of engineering, strategic thinking, sheer human ingenuity needed. It's immense.
Understanding the why behind these technical changes reveals this fascinating chess match, doesn't it? Playing out on track, but also, like you said, right now, behind factory doors.
Exactly. It's this captivating blend of engineering brilliance, strategic foresight, and pure driver ingenuity. It's going to be utterly spellbinding to watch unfold. The teams and drivers who master this won't just win races, they'll redefine success in F1.
So, as we wrap up, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. In an era where maybe a driver's cerebral capacity is as important, perhaps even more important than just outright speed, how much will the legend of Fernando Alonso grow as he navigates F1's most radical transformation in decades? Will that legendary adaptability, that relentless problem-solving, prove to be his ultimate weapon in 2026? Could he rewrite the final, maybe most glorious chapters of his incredible story?
We'll all be watching, that's for sure, with bated breath.